Rise, Meg.
The Force will be with you.
Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update, where today we're going to be primarily talking about Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian Season 3. So without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. Mandalorian star Katee Sackhoff has no idea when Bo-Katan will return. So the article says, after their initial encounter in The Mandalorian Season 2 Episode 3, Din Djarin sought out the help of Bo-Katan and Koska Reeves to rescue Grogu from Moff Gideon. Knowing that that mission could benefit both of them as she could ultimately reclaim the Darksaber, Bo-Katan agreed and ultimately became instrumental in Mando getting back Baby Yoda. But things made an unexpected turn when Din Djarin became the official owner of the black-bladed weapon, following an encounter with Moff Gideon himself. Despite a clear setup for her return, Katee Sackhoff says that she still has yet to find out when she'll be back for The Mandalorian, if at all. During her most recent appearance at Topps WinterCon, the actress was asked about Bo-Katan's return, as Season 3 is already confirmed and production is set to begin in April. In her own words, she said, "No, I have no idea when Bo-Katan is coming back. And the one thing that I do know is that one of the best and work things that Dave Filoni ever did back in the day was give me his phone number. So one of the things that I love to do with him is we just text about Bo in general. I'd love to know how it is she ended up where she's at right now because of where she started, and I love to talk to him about the missing pieces to where she is now. So I know all of that stuff, but I still have no idea what's happening with Season 3. There is no confirmed release date for The Mandalorian Season 3 yet, but unlike other shows and movies, filming for this one is fairly easy, especially in the age of the pandemic, since they mostly do everything inside in a studio which uses LED wall technology. Having said that, with the Book of Boba Fett essentially taking over its year-end release date, it's possible that it might take a little while longer before we start to see new episodes rolling out. Assuming that this is the case, it is possible that production can be pushed back a bit, giving the showrunners John and Dave a bit more time to polish off the scripts. And this could mean that Katee Sackhoff simply hasn't been informed yet. What is clear is that Bo-Katan will return one way or another. Depending on how Lucasfilm want to move forward with the story, they can quickly delve into the brewing conflict between her and Din over the Darksaber. Now, as fans, it might be our first inclination to start worrying about this piece of news, but I wouldn't, simply because of the way that the scripts work for the sake of preventing leaks. Just like for Season 2, Jon Favreau only gives the actors their scripts for the episodes and scenes that they feature in. As such, it could turn out that Bo-Katan isn't in the first few episodes of Season 3. Filming is due to start in April, which is just over a month away, since we're coming to the end of February. As we all know, Katee Sackhoff is very close with Dave Filoni, and as such there's pretty much no chance that she won't return, so let's not worry, Bo-Katan is coming back, it's just a question of when. Besides, Season 3 might give us a lot of unexpected surprises, even from the start. It is also worth bearing in mind the fact that Pedro Pascal teased that there would be quite a time jump between Seasons 2 and 3, so we can't really expect the season to begin on Moff Gideon's cruiser as we saw in the Season 2 finale. Nonetheless, I'm so excited for it and to catch up with Din and all the rest of our heroes in February of next year, just after the Book of Boba Fett. So as always my friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let's move on to our next article. It turns out we're staying on the same subject of Katee Sackhoff and this interview because she talked about Vizsla. She wants to see Vizsla come to live action. Fans don't know when we get to see Bo-Katan again, although Katee Sackhoff detailed that her character's connections to Vizsla and Satine Kryze could change the overall perception of her character, especially for fans who haven't seen Rebels and have only known her from The Mandalorian. So again, at Topps WinterCon, this is what she had to say. "I love Darth Maul. I think he's constantly coming back to life anyway. He's a really hard guy to kill, so you never know." She then goes on to say, "I think I would love to see some stuff with Vizsla." Bo-Katan Kryze didn't exactly start out on the right side of things. She thought she was, so I recommend people go back and watch the Clone Wars because I think you can understand what I'm talking about, and that is the time with Vizsla, which I think is important to who she is as a person and the growth that she's gone through. And again, that's what Katee Sackhoff said at WinterCon. So Vizsla is not the only character that Katee talked about. She also went into depth about Satine Kryze. And this is what she had to say. "I love the dynamic between Bo-Katan and her sister. I love that. I love the idea that these are both women of royal blood. One became ruler and one didn't. So it's like when you're the second in line, it never crosses your mind that you in particular are going to have to rule because the unthinkable has happened." She went on to say that she would absolutely love to see Satine Kryze in live action form, but of course it would have to be in flashbacks since she died at the hands of Darth Maul. And so finally, my friends, we're going to be talking about Daisy Ridley, who teases that she could return as Rey at some point. Star Wars actress Daisy Ridley has recently hinted that she might return as Rey Skywalker in a future Star Wars project. Daisy used the example of Luke Skywalker returning to The Mandalorian as an example of a previous character coming back to the franchise. In her own words, she wrote, "I'm always open to a revisit, but also the beautiful thing is that it's wonderful. It's a huge universe with all of these stories that have yet to be told. I think there's a lot of cool things to be made before any potential revisit though." Then she says, "I think for me the beauty of episode 9 is it ends with such hope and such potential. In a way, I feel as though that was Rey's perfect ending." But she clarified that in a few years she would be willing to return as Rey. So obviously a lot of people didn't like Rey's character in the sequel trilogy, but personally I would be absolutely fascinated to see a Rey story arc that takes place after episode 9. A lot of speculation on Rey's journey after episode 9 has stated that she might have turned to the dark side. Alternatively, she might start her own Jedi Academy. Either way, I think in 10 or 15 years it would be very refreshing to check in on Rey many years after the events of the Skywalker saga, so we get a whole new perspective of Star Wars. Right now it seems like Lucasfilm are very focused on the distant past, focusing primarily on the High Republic, but what about focusing on the very far future? I think that would be absolutely fascinating. So my dear friends, that is all of the news I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, make sure you give that notification bell a good old tickle, and also if you're feeling generous, please be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for just $2 or $10 a month you can get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube, and that includes my podcast, which is called Megasodes, my Forgotten Characters series, and much more as well. Let me know all your thoughts from today's news in the comments below. I always read them and I'd love to hear your feedback. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.